Hi everyone. Oh, yeah. I am doing good. Lady is actually chilling underneath my desk, so I can't have my feet down, which is fine because I usually, yeah. Mhm. Yeah. But she's a rescue. Oh yeah. It's terrible. Terrible. So gross. I don't know why she chose my area. Oh. No, I will entertain everyone. Hi guys, welcome to this week's show. We are actually going to be looking at portraits this week. So lots of picky is gonna be happening because I love seeing your portraits. Um, Matt's miming.
Can you hear me now?
No
Uh,
sound. Let's see. I
See,
don't
this is like
know.
some kind of psychological test. We just wanted to make sure were you paying attention, and now you're going to be super focused for the whole rest of the show. I'm feeling it. So I started the show by singing some of Beethoven's Requiem,
I
and
know.
then praised Steph and explained to her what I love so much about the audience. And please let Timmy have pants on in the background. Yes, we're off to a great
Yes,
start then.
he has pants. I did make sure to tell him, hey, make sure you have pants on, because don't want people seeing you naked.
Okay,
He's
now
fine.
they're
He's just
saying I have
working.
low levels. Well, I am as boosted as I'm ever on the show, so hopefully this is good. Sorry about that, folks. So I was in a very high energy mood and obviously missed the mics. Hope you're well. We talked about that Steph has gotten herself a lovely puppy and it's
Yes.
getting very affectionate and moving closer to her. And sorry about my mics. I've been rushing
Yeah.
around since early this morning. I've got to run off to an all day shoot after we film this live, so apologies to be a
Ooh.
little chaotic. Thank you to everyone who entered your portraits. Now, I know it's kind of a cop out of a theme because we've done it so many times, but the last couple of weeks we just didn't have many entries, and I wanted something to reinvigorate the live show because it's not about having loads of entries or quality, quantity, or all of that usual way trade off. But I want as many people as possible to be able to get involved. So portraits, everyone's taken a shot of a person or their cat at some point. So thank you. We got a lot of entries today. And next week, I want to encourage, please, every single person who's in the chat today. So I'll be disappointed if there's less than 54 entries. That's what we're seeing right now. The theme's going to be isolation. So you can make that somebody looking lonely. You could have it be someone or something behind cage. Isolate, you can also isolate things by lighting or depth of field or all kinds of things. So be a little bit creative, have a look through your archive. Doesn't have to be necessarily something to do with COVID or quarantine. If you shot a series on that, then fine, enter that, but doesn't have to be. And I would love to see some kind of creative entries because we've all shot portraits, we've all entered portraits, but it would be nice to see some more things. So, sorry I rushed through that. I had given Steph a lovely introduction before, but now I didn't at all. But hi, Steph, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. I was talking about Lady for a little bit. But yeah, always working, always hustling, same stuff really. I mean,
Every
just been
day she's hustling.
yeah, hoping for one day Lady will just kind of cuddle up next to us
She
and
will, dude. I
really
reckon
pet
by
me.
Christmas it's gonna be happening.
I don't know. It's hard to say. Most of the times they say puppy mill rescues, it takes like a year or 2 years, or maybe never.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe, but the fact she's at your feet, not cowering, and safe and in a loving home now, that's good already. If
Yeah,
you
she
never
she just flinched. She's sleeping. It's so cute.
Tyson still doesn't, after how many years, doesn't curl up on us like a normal cat should, or like a lot of cats do. but you get to your normal. You're normal. Every relationship has its own dynamic. In any case, I might just have to swing back over to the States
Yeah.
and meet her. I'll be very gentle. I'll keep my distance, but I am built like a Chesterfield sofa. So if she's going to sit on anyone, it's going to be someone fluffy, I reckon.
I mean, you do love foxes, and she just happens to be our foxy lady. She looks like a fox.
Boom, boom, that's perfect. And no
Yeah.
shit, if the next time that I come via New York or the East Coast, I'm most likely going to be heading to Scandinavia to shoot foxes in the wild. So that could be a nice little warm up. I'll shoot one in your living room and
What?
then in the
Yeah.
tundra.
Just bring like a really long lens, though.
Well, I'll be bringing those ridiculous, cost the same as a car, barely fit in your luggage type lenses. So, yes, I will. I'll
Oh,
shoot it from your neighbor's
awesome.
apartment. I've actually not
Perfect.
visited this apartment, I don't think, have I?
Nope,
So, there you
nope,
go.
not
Perfect
yet.
excuse.
Yeah.
Okay, my darlings. So, let's get in and take a look at this. I guess I was silent before. Were we silent when I said about the isolation thing? No, we were up then. So,
No,
we should be
we're
good.
good. Yeah.
Ta-da! Now, fair warning, this is a
Ta-da.
portrait competition. We have some lovely faces, we have some lovely puppies. We do also have some boobies. I'm not sure if we have anything more revealing of men or women in it. I haven't checked every single photo, but I know that we're opening with me mentioning my Hollywood course, and it has some boobies, but I have put a censor over them. So, booby warning for the next minute. If you guys haven't seen it, my new 1920s Hollywood Glamour course is now live. It went live on Friday, so if you picked up the pre-order, if you head on over to artnudeportraiture.com, it'll be there in your dashboard ready to stream. It's 4.5 hours of 4K video content, a dozen editing presets, a dozen raw files to download, and the whole process from showing you around this crazy 1920s mansion, choosing locations, finding the best angles, working out the outfits, guiding the model, doing the shoot, figuring out the lighting and everything, and then all the way through to the editing process. We cover the entire thing. So, launch sale is on, 70% off. Check it out. Hopefully, someone will throw it into the chat. Or I will. And yes, promo complete. Let's take a look at our first entries for this week's portrait theme. Okay, now, because we have a lot of entries, I'm thinking, Steph, how about we go back to our standard of I'll look at 5 and I'll give this is what I like most about it. Here's maybe a suggestion, if there is one of each for it. And then I'll throw to you to do 5. And of course, if you have something you just have to add to a particular shot, feel free. Now, just checking my
Cool.
mic
Sounds
batteries are
good.
still on, so it wasn't an issue about batteries last time that this guy was switched off. Okay, so Mr. Adrian Moss. Like the lighting, a little bit of shadowing on her face is good, but it's quite subtle, so it's not a super dramatic shot. So it's kind of an artsy corporate headshot. One, I don't love the vignette that's hugging the edge of frame. I don't think it's necessary. But 2, just catching the top of the head and this side of her arm looks a bit accidental. You could bring the arm in a little bit. Not saying your model needs it, but some models that I've shot with prefer to have their arm cropped through because they don't like having chubby arms, although she's lovely and thin. But the top of the head, I think, is a bit too tight.
I agree.
Thank you. This one from Andrew Doherty. Now, it's hard to know, but so my guess is what you've done here is thrown a flash against a bare white wall behind her and having it backlighting her to blow out the background and then adding some light to the front to fill her in. Now the backlight has the effect of completely washing out all the detail in the hair here. It just doesn't look great. And this is also a super low res file. Please note we ask for high res files for this. That's adding to why it probably doesn't look so great. But it means, and I also think you've misfocused. It looks like the focus is around on her chin, which, no offense to her, but it puts all the attention on the texture in her face, not on the eyes, which is slightly out of focus. Oh, let's zoom out because that is just plants. Ben Gronfeld. Pretty, nice clean composition, nice light on her. The only thing would be top right corner, that little plant jutting in is kind of distracting, being right on the edge of frame. This frangipani, or I don't know, flowers, this very nice flower in the front is nice, but I think it's a little bit too out of focus. If you brought it to like a 4x5, you could get rid of that thing in the distance and bring it right in on her. Bob H, that's a cat. That's definitely a cat. Now, so it's right in focus. It's right on the cat's eyes. People debate how much depth of field you should have on pets here. Whilst I would like to see the whole head in focus, I can see that the room probably is a normal lived-in room and you're trying to minimize the clutter. I do think you could bring it up about half a stop though. And then maybe whatever that is in the background on the left of frame, you could have just moved for the shot. Although my cat also sleeps on the top of the back of the sofa, and I know that can be difficult. I don't know how many shots I've done. Is that 4? Maybe this is 5. Bram Tolkamp, I reckon you've entered this portrait before. It's beautiful. If you haven't entered this one, then I think you've entered this shot before. Maybe this is your daughter. If my memory serves correctly, I think you're in Singapore. Is that right? It's a beautiful shot. Just compare this one to the earlier one. Still, we have the blown out white background and then front lit. But look how the different choice of settings here has made a huge difference in how sharp and crisp she looks. So here at f8, we're getting a lot less of that blown out effect from the background, a little bit around the edges of her hair, but the fact that it's pulled back rather than frizzy means it's not as apparent. And then good strong light on her face, f8, everything's beautiful and crisp. That's a pick. Now, is
Yeah, I was
that
gonna say pick.
5 shots? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, and then pubes. So there is our first 5. Let's throw to Steph. If you have any questions,
Hello.
please throw them in the chat. Ask Matt or ask Steph, and then we'll come to them after every round of images. So, Steph, David Moore.
Okay. Hi, David. I think this is a great shot. But I think if the pose is gonna be like that, have her chest a little bit more open towards the light so it's not so dark. It looks like it's a fashion type of shoot. And also not crop the elbow. I think if you're gonna have like the full pose, get the full pose. And is that a sofa in the back? It's like you have a backdrop, but then there's also something on the lower half, either crop closer or if you can get rid of it. Not really sure what that is. And there might have been something on the bottom right too. There's like something red. But I think this is great. I love the expression. The pose is great. I just think maybe angle a little bit more.
I want to just jump in one thing on that. Thinking of this as fashion, Steph touched on it. When you're shooting fashion or like a product thing, let's say this is fashion, her clothes are as important as she is. So already I would say her mouth is more in focus than her eyes, but basically you want the whole outfit in nice focus. And I'm not sure if it's a focus issue or a slight bit of motion blur, but I would really think the bun on her head should be pin sharp as well. So basically from the bun to the textures in her jacket, I would want all of that in sharp focus. So my 2 cents.
Cool.
David Price.
Oh, this looks like a prom photo, actually. Just because typically, when you're doing photos, prom photos, it's just everybody's outside, front yard. So like there's cars in the back. I think that there was some potential with like, I guess what that tree is. It's got some pretty flowers. Maybe use that a little bit more. But I mean, it's really hard to get rid of the cars. Can't really know with like the location. I think the pose is great. I think the frame is nice. And yeah, she looks great if this was like a prom photo. So
Yeah, it looks like a
love
make the most of what you can in that situation, and you've at least found really nice neutral light for her to pose in, even if we got the back of some cars. David Stevens. We got all the Davids today. Welcome. Welcome to the
So
David
many
Show.
Davids. Jeez. So much details in this. What kind of monkey?
Manic. It's a manic monkey.
Oh, it's so cute. Um, I like it. I feel like I would like to see more of the monkey, but for what it is, I kind of really like it. I feel like it's kind of sitting on my computer right now because it's so detailed.
But that's a good point. You can't. Well, if you're going to say, well, I'm not criticizing your critique, but if it's detailed, you want it to be in focus. Otherwise, it's not really detailed. So just the eye perfectly in focus. But I really think having
Yeah,
the face in focus
like
would be
here.
better. And if you're making the whole background black anyway, there's a shot coming up later that I feel like we've had entered as well of like a Hagrid type character with uber detail. I think that kind of an effect on this, where you have most of the hair and face in focus, could have been more impactful. As it is like this, it's kind of giving you that I'm deep in thought
Yeah.
vibe. Although I'm sure monkeys have deep thoughts. Eric, nope, and booby alert to people.
Oh, movie alert. Um, I like this. I think I would just do something else with the left hand because this is kind of peeking out from her left hip and then her thumb on the door. Um, I think I would just change that and then relax her right hand a little bit more. It looks just very stiff on her. It's just, yeah.
So
But
this
besides
is
that,
something
I
that
like the angle.
Steph kind of introduced me to, and then I've worked on more with models since then. In a shot like this, Steph knows how to take the weight off the hand and make it look in motion. But in a shot like this, it can be difficult. You want to get her in the frame of the door, but then where can she put her hand? It does feel a bit awkward if it's just hanging there. Is it going to ruin her posture? So one thing you can do is just have them basically keep tapping their fingers on their thigh. At least then it lifts their hand up and there'll be a little bit of motion in there. So it's not just, I didn't know where to put my hand, so I'm putting my hand here. And I don't know how many we're up to for you, Steph. Don't forget to go on your pick tirade, by the way.
Yeah.
Frederick Turner.
Is this in focus?
I don't think it is in focus. It
Yeah.
looks like the focus is on his neck.
I mean, I think it's a bit too close. Like there's space on the left side and on the right side. I feel like if it was more of portrait, not landscape, but portrait, just more below, I guess, just to kind of like have a chest like bust up type of shot. I think that that would work better, and if the image was actually in focus too. Um,
And I do think the highlights are a little low. I don't know. It can be difficult. You don't know people's exact skin tone when you're reviewing an image. So if I just push up the whole exposure to get the highlights right, that may be making him far too bright. But at least I can see that there are no highlights in the top third of the image as it was presented, but those highlights in the background you would expect would be. So at least pushing up our highlights, I think, is going to lead to a better exposure, although you can see that looks a little oversaturated now too. Shall we do one more, Steph, and then look at
sure.
questions? Jeff Weber.
I have definitely had this face before when I was playing poker with my family. Um,
That was all my
I
savings.
I know it's just what am I doing? All right, waiting. Um, I really like this. I think the frame is nice. I just would have liked to not have his top cut off, but I could kind of understand that you had done that because there's like a person behind him. So I'm kind of like mixed feelings right now because I like the two people like in the foreground. So I don't know if there's a different angle for this, but I really like it. Oh, pick.
Pick. Now, this is one where, if you saw my recent video about the Z9, one thing I mentioned, there was a lot of things that people took issue with in that video. but about having an articulated screen that lets you shoot in portrait, not just kind of up and down for landscape. In a shot like this, not knowing the scene at all, but for example, if you could have put your arm a foot and a half up into the air, tilted the screen down to yourself so you could see, then frame a shot that got his whole head and the cards. You might have even been able to shoot over this thing in the foreground and not be introducing the face of the person in the background, and that maybe could have worked. Now, let's just jump out and take a look at any questiones that we have. Okay, so I need to open my phone as well. So people saying they've already sent in their isolation shots. That's great. Thank you for that, folks. Should be a good episode next week.
Oh, Matt, do you need to swap out your
Oh, thank you. I already
earphones?
did.
Ah, okay.
And lots of there's no sound messages. Ranger Ron, everybody, please give a moment's thought to Ranger Ron. This is his first live show he caught since his third heart surgery on September 3rd.
Oh,
So wish you well, buddy. I
oh
hope
my
it's
gosh.
third and
Wow.
final.
Yes.
Ben Grunfeld, next week should be photos from your phone. Many will have those. Yep, but we've got our theme already, but maybe we'll think about future one. IV, how do you feel about close-up portrait? Don't really know how to answer that. If it's a good shot, it's a good shot. Eric, I was wondering with all the ebooks you bring out now, how do you take care of permission and licenses to use the picture? Good question. So those who don't know, I have over at artnudeportraiture.com, I already did, do I have them here? Well, they're behind the curtain. Two full hardcover books, Public Bodies and Private Bodies, that I shot over years and then produced books. And now I have ebooks of them, and now I also have a private members library, which is a library of ebooks separate to those, each one basically on a particular shoot. So I think we're up to volume 10 now. Volume 11's coming in less than a week. And every month I add 2 new ebooks to it. Members get access to all of it, and it's like a subscription. You join once and then there's a monthly fee. The only shoot in there the only book, sorry, in there that isn't focused on a single shoot is actually the one of Steph, which is a series of shots taken from all kinds of different art nude shoots that we did over the years. So your question about how do I take, excuse me, I got the burps. How do you take care of permissions and licenses to use the pictures? Every shoot that I do, I have consent forms filled in, and it covers use in all forms of media. Most nude shoots, either, well, if it's a client hiring me, then they've paid, and I won't make an ebook of it unless they, in an exceptional case, are fine with that. But if it's that I hired them, for example, or I shot, well, the most recent one I put it was a shibari rope tying shoot in Peru, and they were friends. That wasn't paid. It was a collaboration. We set up the shoot together. I had the waivers done though, so I have the rights to the pictures. With Steph and ones that I've done for Art Nude Portraiture, I'm hiring the model in that case. I'm paying the model and I get a consent form. So all of the shoots that I'm putting ebooks out, and it's actually, if you have access to the library, on the final page of the ebook, it tells you this. All of the models are of legal age, and I have consent forms, and I own the rights to the images. So that's how. And for someone like Steph, or here in Hong Kong, Honey, where I'm shooting with the same person a lot for YouTube, we tend to go to like an annual waiver that covers all of the YouTube stuff. But still, for sake of just being double sure, whenever it's a shoot that includes any kind of nudity, I have people sign a waiver again. Even Steph, who's a good friend and we've shot 100 times together, I want to make sure that we're on the same page always. Not sure I get this. Ranger Ron is saying, Matt, your comments on focus are to your advantage. On my laptop, they all look sharp. I'm not sure what you're getting at there, sorry. Yeah, maybe I'm misreading it. I'm not sure. Um,
Maybe.
Leslie Christopher was saying what aperture was the monkey photo? From memory, it was a 105 macro and it was shot at f3.5. Um, okay, we're good, doing well. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Thanks, guys.
Agnetha Leduff, did you say that you left the Nikon brand? What brand name are you using now? And are you full-time mirrorless camera user? That feels like a market survey question. Just got stopped in the street by, or got stopped at a camera convention or something. So, did I say that I left the Nikon brand? I did a video last year where, last year? God, it feels like a decade ago, where I
Does
sold
2020 even count?
where I sold my Nikon DSLRs, and yes, the title was Goodbye Nikon. So the full timeline, forgetting about videos, I had not moved to mirrorless, unlike everyone else in the industry. Last year, I sold my D850s. They were due to be replaced. I wasn't doing a lot of commercial work. I wasn't doing on location work that needed something that tough. So I sold them whilst the price was good before a replacement was announced. And I spent the next couple of months testing out the mirrorless options from all of the big companies. Very fortunate to be able to get loaners, a lot from B&H Photos, sometimes from the manufacturer. And I finally settled on the Nikon Z7 IIs, which I then bought into again. So now I'm shooting mainly with Nikon Z7s. I'm filming right now on a Z6. I do have a Sony A7S III for video. And I'm looking forward to the new Nikon coming out as well. But as of right now, yes, I'm all in on mirrorless. Don't miss film, and I still love DSLRs, but yes, I'm using mirrorless. Now, excuse me. Okay, I see lots of questions coming in now. Fond Farewell saying, is that a Los Pollos Hermanos shirt? Yes, it is. Complete with holes from a lifetime of use. Okay. There was one other question here I'll answer now, and then we'll go back to the photos. I like to use a 70 to 200 for event portraiture. What long prime would you suggest to replace it? If you like using the 70 to 200, is there a reason you need to replace it? If you go to a prime, you're not going to gain a huge aperture advantage anyway. Not knowing what events you shoot, or if you're on full frame or DX, whatever, I would suggest go to select in your Lightroom, for example, the last 5 events that you shot. Select them, go up to the top. Let's actually switch back and I'll show you. So if we switch back to Lightroom here, take a look at our whole library, and then up the top here you can see, okay, so these are all the different cameras that were used. Here's all the different lenses that were used, but we could change this one to say, show us the focal length. And the most used focal length that has been entered was 50 mil. And then there's 105 and whatever. So I would go through that and see what was the most used focal length that you used. If you often shoot around 105 or 135, there's your answer. If you're always shooting at 70 or 200, there's your answer. I hope that helps. So am I on the right screen now? Yes. Where were we up to? This one. And this will be my turn. So we are now looking at Ian Knight's portrait. Now this is nice and clean. No distractions, good amount of depth of field, added flash. The little pool on the ground isn't too distracting. I think it works well, and you can't really do it here by pulling the blues down to get a rich sky because of the color of her clothes. You would affect those as well. But if you had a little bit more above, this looks like it's a crop. Hopefully the extra you have is above, not below, because this looks like a cover of Cyclist Monthly or something. I think it works really well. The depth of field here I think works great as well. No need to shoot everything at f1.4. That's a good amount of background blur already. I don't really have a criticism on it. Anything did you want to add, Steph?
Um, no, I think this is awesome. Pick.
Pick. Oh, twinsies or
Ha.
something. Jacob Berg. Okay. I don't know what it is about this shot. F1.8. It could be just that it's absolutely pin sharp in focus, but it looks to me like the face has been softened and then a heavy vignette added, which again, it's got all these things going on that's meant to make it look filmic. The grain that's been added to the background is who shot at ISO 100, so this in the background has been added that wasn't there. The skin, well, it's got grain added everywhere. The cheeks and the nose are out of focus, but the lips are in. The eyes are piercingly in focus and have had a lot of contrast added. For me, just the main thing here is you're going for an aesthetic. I think the overall vibe you're going for here is working, except for what you've done to the eyes. They don't fit at all. They're so pin sharp and contrasty, it doesn't match what you're doing on the rest of the shot. But for the rest of it, I can see where you're going with it. I personally don't like the over the top, but not over the top. I personally don't like that level of vignette, but it's great that you're going with this theme. It's actually what the Hollywood course is all about, that we had a theme that we're going for, and every choice in the location selection, outfits, poses, and editing was to get us to that sensual 1920s elegant art nude final position. I think the eyes on your edit was the misstep in your process to get to a final unified theme. But I still like it, and I'm going to give it a star, even though that. Now, is it just me, Steph, or is this, we know this model? Jerry Bridges,
Yes, we
this is
do.
Roseanne, right? Was
Yeah.
this at my workshop? I don't remember her wearing that outfit.
I don't think so, because I don't remember that outfit
And
at
I think she
all.
only posed for the nude in London, not for the weekend workshop. Maybe. I can't really remember. But Jerry, did you
I don't
meet
remember.
Roseanne through my workshop, or is it just a coincidence, or what? But yes, Roseanne was one of the models we had. That was maybe our most jam packed weekend of shooting and working as well. We did a weekend workshop in London in Westferry. Then, oh, and talk about articulating all the concepts of the show. Then we rented this amazing multi-million pound house that had a resident wild fox that used to come and hang out in the backyard. And we held an art nude workshop there with Roseanne as one of the models, Steph as another. Also, I'm forgetting her name. She's the aerial
Uh,
artist. Yes,
Morgan?
Morgan Barbour.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. And we also shot a big section of the implied nude portraiture course there. So overall, for me, this one I feel is it's also going for that kind of a filmic kind of a look, but I feel like it stays on point better. Everything's the blacks aren't super contrasty, which kind of works. It looks like it's had a bit of grain added to it. No, there are distractions in the background, but it's that kind of goes with her cut up dress. Is that a dress? Yes. And yeah, for me, there's no real distractions. I think this is a pick. Do you have any feedback on this, Steph?
I think the pose is great. I think chin down just a little bit, just so you could see more of her shadows. And I think something else with the left hand is just kind of hanging there. And sh yeah, she hooked it with like the dress, but you can't really
Yeah, if
tell,
she had
you know?
her butt
So
slightly to camera right, you would see the hook, and it might
yeah.
actually put a nicer angle through her waist as well. Cool. Was that my five? I don't know where we're up to.
I
No,
don't know.
not even close. One, two, three.
Two,
Okay,
three.
four.
Oh, you have two
Jay
more. Okay.
Frandano. Oh, this is like when you get a shot of someone smoking right in front of a no smoking sign. That says keep off, and he's on
What a
it.
rebel.
Wild man. And he's wearing cut off blue shorts. I love it. Um, Look, I think it's a nice portrait. It's a nice use of the space. Again, if you got slightly higher, just so we could have a little separation of his head, so it's not, we're not losing the hairline in the hard shadows of that cutout in the concrete, whatever that is. My guess, having shot a lot of shoots like this, is maybe your model was a little bit unsure of how to pose, and I think what you've done is a pretty good approach. Looking to the light, this is kind of relaxed, but also a kind of guarded pose, which is good for someone who's maybe less experienced with posing. So I think it works well. Nicely done. And thank you for not overdoing the edit. It's so easy with urban type shots with concrete or industrial backgrounds to just go to 12 on all of the clarity settings. I think this works nicely.
My question is, why do you have to keep off? Like,
Maybe it used to be something of importance.
maybe.
Um, yeah. Jay Frandano, please let us know, why was that a keep off situation? John Dalston. Now, here is a girl who gets whatever she wants for Christmas. Um,
Yep.
Intense. The little top corners of the frame, I think, are actually useful as it kind of ties in with her shirt. I I can't tell if she's like 5 or 12. I can't tell if she's happy, intense, or angry. But it's definitely got impact. Um, I think it could do with being a tad brighter, but that's about it. I think it's a really nice, tight crop. Love the freckles, love the hair. I wouldn't mind seeing it at slightly a greater depth of field to get all of the hair in focus rather than just the face, but it's still a cool effect. And if you were going to have just the face in focus, you could consider bringing it in to be, right, just hair and face. I'm not sure that this is better, but no, it's not better. But that kind of a frame so that you just had the face in a sea of out of focus stuff. Anything you want to
It
add
makes
to
me
that?
think like movie poster,
Yes. If it
right?
was wet
Yeah.
hair and an Asian girl, then it would be a horror film. This one maybe could be like Wicker Man or
Yeah.
something like that. Your turn, Steph. John
My
Musket. Oh,
turn.
and I'm pretty sure this shot was taken at one of my workshops. Wow, maybe 10 years ago or something with model Jade in Sydney.
Oh. I don't know. Okay, one, I'm also like, I really don't like the squat pose. That's just me. Not a big fan of it. Is just, yeah. I would change the pose. And plus, because you do have some sort of a backdrop, I think it's better to just work with the backdrop so we don't see the grass at all. Um,
I think it's concrete, but I
I
take your
mean, I think
point.
the, is it concrete? It looks like grass on the ground. Um, But I do like the color effect that's like backlighting her, like the
Mm-hmm.
purple. But I think there's still some work that needs to be done. I think it'll be better. And plus, she's in a dress. Let's have her stand, show off the leg, fully extended. I think that's a lot better. And then she could hold the helmet like under her arm, type of thing.
Yeah, I think that
Um,
I just put that up just over half a stop of exposure. I think that's working, but fun technique there. This was actually using a real fog machine outdoors in the backyard of my studio. I think that was my first studio, which was in Sydney's lowest rent and most dangerous suburb. Whew, that was a dicey one.
oh, jeez.
Um, but hi Jade, hi John. Thank you for entering that one. Um, what do you think of this one from Karsten Larson?
This one. I think it is too close for me. I think the focus on her eye, it's great. The expression is nice, but I think it's just a little too close, and the framing is just a little off-putting to me too. Like I think maybe lowering it from the top and then having more of her shoulders in the shot rather than just a floating head.
Agree. Kevin Connery.
Is this a composite?
It feels like it just because she's not quite super sharp and the background's not quite super sharp. It kind of feels like the two parts have been put together, but I'm not 100% sure.
I feel
I,
like she has like a tint of green or something on her on the edge of her like her trap.
yes, and her. So this is something that can happen in any photo shoot. When someone has a lot of makeup on, just be aware that her face is a lot more pale and neutral than her chest. So often, if you're showing the chest, you might want to have the makeup artist feather the makeup down to a natural breaking point. It's actually, I found it quite hilarious when I was shooting the fitness competition recently, how people, in America, blackface is a huge no because of the history of slavery and race relations in America. But in fitness competitions, the opposite is totally fine, where people just completely paint themselves almost pitch black up to their neck, but then don't do the face. But the good ones
Yeah.
have all the muscles done and then a slow feather off to nothing on the face. But you just see some people with like a black body and then boom, an Asian head. It was really quite funny.
That's funny. I think with this shot though, I think maybe shoot if this isn't a composite and this is actually a background, shooting it from a higher angle because it looks like the drapage on the top is like connected to her head. And then there's like that weird leaf to a plant in the right corner. I think move that or get rid
I
of it.
think that's great feedback, and if
Yeah.
it is a composite, then adjust it. For this frame, though, I think being down low, shooting up at her, imagining that she's some tutor of importance, the low vantage point is the right one to take on her. But yeah, being aware of the background is obviously important. Um, Kajel Shell
He's sleeping. Um
or judging
or
you,
blinking. I mean, yeah, or
like a
judging me.
deep sigh.
That's a possibility.
Stephanie,
I get that a lot.
disappointed.
Um, I like the frame. I don't think it's in focus at all. And I don't know, the black and white, I feel like it just doesn't really work for me in this shot. Um, plus I think the eyes tell all. Like I would like for his eyes to be open.
Okay.
But yeah, that's just me.
I don't know where we're up to. Give you one or two more.
Okay.
Marv's. By the way, folks, just looking at the file name up here, you don't need to put my name or jpeg.jpg. It's just an example. So next week, if the theme is isolation, it would be marv's dot slash isolation.jpg, or if Steph entered it, it would be Stephanie Pham slash isolation slash jpeg. It's just so I know who you are so we can address you during the video. When I put Matt Granger, that's as an example of if it were my entry. So what do you think of Marv's shot?
Um, I think it seems like I don't know, maybe it's like the editing, but it seems a little bit too overblown or something. You don't really see the details in her hand. I think also relaxing the fingers just a tiny bit because when you have like your fingers like like straight, it's a little off-putting. Just relaxing it a little bit more, have that natural curl, but I think that the frame actually works.
Agree.
I usually don't like cutting the head either, but I think that the shot actually
This is
works.
another one that I think people have. The photographer has tried to go for a film type look. I think it was overexposed in the shot, been pulled back, and then also the shadows have been lifted, so you're not getting the dynamic range that you would normally from this Fuji camera. But yeah, I think the feedback on the fingers is an important one. One more for Steph, and then we'll take your questions. Matthew Nerbison. Have we seen this shot before?
I don't,
Or maybe just he entered it early and
but
I saw it first a week ago. That could be it.
it looks like the hair is in focus, like the front couple strands, and not her
Yeah, it
herself.
is.
Um, and
I'm guessing that, well, Matthew has
I don't
entered a lot
know.
of shots. I think that was, it wouldn't have been an accident. So I think it was a creative choice on his part. Then whether or not it works or not is, well, reception theory says it's up to us, the audience. If it's going for kind of
Yeah.
a creepy, disconnected vibe, and shooting through glass like that is already kind of trying to isolate or separate the person from us, then maybe that is. I just don't really see the hair as being the thing that's a barrier. And the way the hair falls around her nose, it almost looks like a Maori tattoo, which I
Ah,
think is
okay.
not
Yeah, I
what
can
he's
see
going
that.
for. I just think it is interesting because she's got the tattoos on her shoulder as well.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts?
I think just work on the focus. I don't think focusing on the hair is really gonna do it for this shot. And then I think the tattoo is pretty interesting. Would like to see more of the tattoo, if anything.
Cool. Let's jump back and look at some questions, and then the next shot will be mine. Um,
Cool.
Ranger Ron, following up on his comment about focus, he said the previous pics of the monkey, you said the faces, some parts weren't sharp, but on my laptop they were sharp. I don't know what to tell you. I'm on calibrated 4K displays. It was not a matter of the photo having an issue, it was just it didn't have a sufficient depth of field. It wasn't fully in focus. Maybe if you're looking at it on lower res or via the compression on YouTube, maybe the difference between in focus and out of focus isn't as apparent. But I can tell you the actual file had just the eye in, and the lead cheek was already out of focus. Agnetha says, Steph, when you take photos of models, have you been asked by the model to take what? To take a picture of your beauty? I have no idea what you're asking. Sorry, Agnetha. When you take photos of models, have you
Um,
been asked by the model to take a photo of your beauty?
I usually just when it comes to modeling, I'm in front of the camera, so yeah, I don't have that situation. Whatever you're trying to imply.
Maybe feel free to clarify, Agnetha, and we'll come back to it.
Yeah.
Jester 501, I think following on from the question about the ebooks, asking, would a template for model releases work in most situations? You need one that is applicable in your country because, you know, the wording or what is required will vary. For example, in Hong Kong, it seems it's quite common that they need so like in America, you have your social security number or your driver's license number. In Hong Kong, they use their Hong Kong ID number. In Australia, I think they use license number. So you need to make that adjustment. But in my getting started with models guide, I have model release forms as templates that you can add your own logos to and update. But yeah, you need to make sure it's applicable for your country and that you've received the right information that makes it legal. Um, Agnetha again, what are the benefits and non benefits of autofocusing in your work? Um, I, it's a personal thing. I guess if you're asking me, then that's fair enough. For myself, when I am doing manual focus, there's something methodical, almost kind of meditative about manual focusing and physically pulling the focus of a shot in and getting it where you want. It's a kind of a satisfying mechanical process in the same way that driving a vintage car is. In a lot of situations, though, like Ranger Ron, it can be quite difficult to tell if you've got the right thing in accurate focus when you're manually focusing. Even with focus confirmation, if you're shooting with a shallow depth of field, it might think you're in when you're actually on the eyelashes or whatever. So, we've had autofocus now for over 30 years. It's getting more and more sophisticated. Now it'll track the eye or track your pet, or there's a lot out there now that will even focus on the eyes of different animals. So I guess it's just how connected you want to be and how much of the process you want to hand over to the computer inside your camera and how much you want to retain control over. Although letting the computer help you, you still have control. If this last shot that Matthew entered with autofocus, you could easily choose the hair or the glass or her eye. It's up to you. Ben Daly, welcome back. He said he's catching us live after missing us for a long time. You're the second one saying that. I hope that you didn't just have major surgery as well. Welcome back, Ben. Okay, I'm not seeing other questions. And aloha from FL. Let us know, folks, where are you all in the world? I'm guessing FL is maybe from Hawaii by greeting us with aloha. FYI, I'm currently based in Hong Kong and it is coming on to 11 a.m. Sunday morning. Steph's a Jersey girl now, right?
Oh
Jersey.
gosh,
You're a
stop.
Jersey girl.
I'm gonna move back to Philly.
Oh, yeah. Philly. That's a big difference. It's
Yeah,
like a
I
half an
know.
hour across the river, right?
I mean, it's not even that great either. I mean, we're the city that will burn our own city down when a sports team wins.
Not even when
So,
they lose. Yeah, that's
yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
Um, okay, Kevin Connery said his earlier shot of the Tudor woman was not a composite, but the background was blurred a bit in
Oh,
post. There you go.
okay.
Okay, so we have Norway, Missouri, BC, Canada, Boston, Ohio.
Oh, Boston.
Um, I okay.
Wow.
I'm
Peru?
what? Where's our Peruvian friend? I didn't see that answer.
What?
Oh, Ernesto. Hi, Ernesto. The recent
Belgium?
um, Shibari shoot that I just put live on the members only library, I shot in Peru. There you go. I have a lot of friends in Peru, and my buddy just returned from hiking there. Um,
Wow.
yes, Steph and I are exactly 12 hours apart at the moment, so it's kind of handy, kind of not. It's always early morning and late in the evening for
Mm-hmm.
one of us. Tijuana.
Yep.
Look at this. What an international room. Connecticut, California, Chile.
Wow.
Love Chile as well. Blackheath, Belgium, Sao Paulo, Brazil. Oh, we got represent South and Central America. What? Um, okay, so
What?
time to jump in and take a look at some more pickies because I have a shoot to get to, so I can't take all day. Milan Medic, nice to see. It's still got a bit of a filmic vibe to it, but nice to see you do portraits as well. You're often entering really gritty, timeless street and city shots. Um, I'm not quite sure about the crop on this one. I think either wider or even tighter. But I do like, the fact that none of it's in focus. I'm guessing this actually was a film shot. I think it all goes together fairly well, but I just don't think this crop quite works. And I'm on the wrong screen. Can I switch back? And am I showing the right thing to the audience? Yes. Okay. Ming Hung. Now, this is funny to see this one because I was just looking through images I had saved in the past to show as samples to people, and there was a cover of John Wick in the folder, which I guess this is kind of going for as well. I think this is quite cool. The fact that it has a real filmic vibe means that the wide angle works. So I don't think the catching the top of his head is actually an issue. And if we're thinking about a cinema type shot, then this exposure is also working as it should. So I think that's a really nice shot. Pick.
Yeah. I just don't like the I don't know how you're holding the gun, but typically I don't think you would hook it like this.
And his finger's not on the trigger, so
It's
he's not
just
quite ready for action.
yeah. Yeah, so you could just, you know, uh gun safety and just have his pointer finger just along the side of the gun instead.
You've been told. Mozid. Wow, this looks like a poster for a resort. Um, for me, the eyes have been probably brightened up a little bit too much, but other than that, I think it's a lovely shot. I would probably put a bit more space above and a bit less below would be the only thing. Or if this is the crop we had, I might even, I don't want to make it too panoramic, but you can maybe bring it up like that. And I think that balances a little bit better, although I still wish she had a little bit more headroom. But really nice shot. Give that a pick too. Look at me on a little frenzy here over here.
I know. Dang.
Neto. Now, I could be wrong, but I feel like I've seen this guy before as well. Have you entered a shot of this gentleman in the past? Um, what's his tattoo say? I am my own something. Oh, now I want to know what that says. Oh, along the collarbone too.
I
That's gonna hurt.
know.
Dang. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, for the kind of character he is, if we're thinking of him as a character with the tattoos and the big earring, then I feel this stark black and white works quite well. If you take it back to its essence of it's a portrait, there's no distractions, all the attention is in on him, you have enough in focus for the unknown caller. You have
Oh,
enough you need to make sense of the shot. Then I think it works just fine. Anything you wanted to add on that one, Steph?
I I like it, but I also would be really interested in seeing a wider shot of this. It looks like he's kind of stepping through like a door frame because there's also it looks like there might have been light from like a window that's being casted like shadows on his like chest. So I'm just kind of curious if there was like more to this that you could have like made up kind of a scene with him. But I really like it. And I also like the fact that a lot of you guys are submitting men.
Yay!
It's
Well,
awesome.
the occasional one. It's a good start. Thank you, Neto.
Yeah. Good
Um,
start.
oh, and someone says in the chat that it says God. So I am my own God. Doesn't look like a
Oh,
G, but maybe it's a different language. Paul Biven. Little baby. Um, very cute. What's going on the side here? Looks like something was cloned out. If you look up along the side here, there's like this band of pixels there on the top left. Don't know what's going on there. But you've got
top
plenty of room to get rid
left.
of that. Um, very cute. Nice soft light. The lead side of the face in focus. Um, I mean, if you want to go for maximum cuteness, if she or he was really deep asleep, putting one hand up onto the cheek or something like that is the maximum level 10 cuteness. I've seen baby photographers who specialize in this that once you get them all relaxed and in there, will then go in and basically plasticine them and just pose them exactly how they want. And it doesn't
Oh, so
seem to,
that's how that works?
yeah. So, but I think this is really cute.
Oh,
But if that is an option, then you can still work with hand placement. I don't know how model consents work, but I guess this is the parents. Um, Pete Aitkins. Okay, so the balance on this one's slightly off. Again, You don't want to introduce distractions, but you also don't want to crop off parts of them. She's wearing the Doc Marten shoes, which is kind of part of her outfit and statement, so keep the shoe in. Um, let's see if we can spot Pete in the glasses. Not really. Where were you? Don't know what that is in the background. But I like the contrast and all the different patterns and stuff. Great that she was against a nice neutral wall. Does kind of feel like a grab shot though. If it were one where you were working with her, then I'd probably lose the bag or have it be so that we can really see it. Because again, I think that's part of her, what she's trying to show the world about herself. And maybe changing the angle of her legs if it were a shot where you were actually directing it. Paul Livingston. So, just scanning the edges of the frame, this green popping in on the edge and her elbow jumps out. So, I've said this before in videos and courses, but when you're framing up a shot, run your eye around the edge of the viewfinder. That's how you're going to find if there's little intrusions, things that should be in that are being caught, or things that should be out that are, getting in. This is a nice, comfortable pose for someone. Here, she could actually be wearing a strapless bra and just hiding it with posing. I really don't. I'm not personally a fan of the soft focus Barbie doll effect. She's young, beautiful. I don't think she needs to have zero skin detail in her shoulders, hands, face. But, the pink light, the pose, the flowers, it's all nice. Just maybe be careful of that front leaf. And then the editing treatment isn't to my taste. Here we go. Scott Braddock. Now, I'm sure you've entered this shot before, or a shot of this guy before. Total Hagrid mode. But this is what I mean by when you have a lot of detail, having the depth of field to really show all of it is quite something. So if thinking, this is basically the human version of that monkey shot. Straight on, sufficient depth of field. If you're in the room, Scott, let us know, but I'm pretty sure you've entered a shot like this before, and take this as you will. I don't mean it as an insult, but this is the kind of shot that you see entered and winning local photography competitions all the time. It's like, it's actually not a difficult shot to take. Here's an interesting character, loads of detail, then do a treatment on it, so we're getting loads of detail from the hair contrast in the midtones and on the skin, and then black out all the background, whether it was shot that way or just doing that in post. So there you go. It's been done in post. It's just had a big vignette put onto the shot, and it's actually a fairly simple single light, top light portrait with really heavy editing. What do you think of the final effects, Steph?
I don't think I like the floating head look.
A little bit
I
Uncle
think that's
Festery
my.
or whatever that hand thing was.
It's just like, I don't know. I would like to see like the full like broad shoulders and like just, I don't know. I'm not sure how
Yeah, I
I feel
think you
about the
could.
floating head
So
look.
again,
That's
just
all.
bringing up the
But
exposure
that's
here.
just me.
No, but I mean, thinking of what Steph said, if you had some of this part, just his shoulders and shirt, enough to give him a body with, it could still be close to black, but enough that you can at least see something connecting him to the real world. Let's take a look. Like, oh, I don't think I can even bring it back enough, even with a brush. What am I on? Feather, flow, feather. Oh, that's too much, but something to bring in the head and shoulders. I know what you mean. I think it could work a little bit better, especially if you had a little bit of wardrobe in the shot. But as the comments are showing, a lot of people love this kind of final treatment, and that's why this kind of shot, I think, is so pervasive in photo competitions. So nice one, Scott. And I often find it funny, people, when it's something that's clearly been edited, people, and I'm not saying that these are the same two groups of people, it's easy to make that assumption when you're trying to make a point, but, you know, that people will say, but this is just editing, it's not about the shoot. This is actually a super simple shot to take, and 80% of what's making it this final interesting shot is the heavy editing that it's had. It just doesn't maybe come across the same way as if it's a woman who's been airbrushed to have no detail. You know, it's the opposite that's been done here. Not a criticism, just an observation. I think we only have a couple left, Steph, so do you want to take the next couple, Thanos?
Yeah, sure. That's a great expression, but unfortunately, this image is not in focus whatsoever. I think the reaction is nice, maybe cropping it down from the top a little bit, but if it was in focus, it would have been really
I think it's motion blur more than
awesome. I
focus.
don't think it's
Could have been both, but yeah, I've
Oh,
had shots like this of, coming across a lady on a street corner in the mountains of Peru or wherever, and you have to get the shot quickly, so framing and that kind of thing can be really tricky. But I do
yeah.
agree, it's difficult, and this is one of the things I often remind people on my photo tours. Once, maybe they had just been inside in a house or something like that, and then you're going to the next location, just recheck your settings, because if you turn the corner and then here he was at a 30th of a second, which maybe isn't ideal for a portrait, it's worth revisiting your settings to make sure that you're not on the 10,000 ISO that you needed before, or the slow shutter speed that you needed for your landscape, so you're in a place that's suitable for what the next shooting opportunity may offer. Thomas Clemens, I swear we've seen this guy as well.
I feel like we've seen him actually. I think that this is a great, like, this would be like a typical actor's like headshot that could be used for like just those commercial jobs and whatnot. The expression is awesome. Everything looks like it's in focus. Lighting looks pretty good to me. I think it's a little dark, like below, like I guess elbows down, but I don't mind it because I mean it looks very candid. Um,
Yeah, on a shot like this.
yeah, if anything,
Sorry, go ahead, Steph.
I think it might just be a little dark
See,
because you can't really see like the left side
yeah.
of his like hair. But that's pretty much
Yes,
it.
you've got a second light bringing in light on his jacket there, but this is the tricky thing where his face is so much more reflective and bright than even his yellow sweater. The blue jacket is eating up a lot of light. In a shot like this, you want to feather the light so that you're getting softer light on his face than on his clothes. Otherwise, you hit this problem of the bottom is too dark, but if we put the exposure up, his face is going to blow out really quickly. So just like if you're shooting, someone pale wearing dark clothes, or someone dark skinned wearing pale clothes, feather the light so that you're getting the hot spot of your light onto the darkest part of the scene, feathering the softer light onto the brightest part, which here would be his face. Tom Raj, you want to do this one, Steph, and then if there's any more, I'll switch back.
Sure. Cool. I like the framing. I mean the expression is nice. It's just the background, and I feel like this might have been taken at an event, so I don't think you can really control too much if that is the case. But I think that this is a lovely shot, though, regardless.
For me, yeah, this is like the what was it, the one of the girl going to prom or whatever with the cars in the background.
Hmm.
Your
Yeah.
female friend looking beautiful, all dressed up for a special occasion. You make the best of what you can. Like that shot, you found a nice neutral pool of light, made the shot work. It's not ideal, but I think it's still a credit to you and your subject that you've made a really nice shot in a challenging or ordinary situation. And that actually is our final one.
Oh,
So let's just
that is it.
check if we have any new questions coming in. I haven't had any shot to me yet, so we will choose our winner. You guys let us know in the chat if you have any final questions. And reminder, next week our theme is isolation. So, taking a look at the picks, we got it down to 6. So we have the young lady,
Ooh.
Bram Tolkamp shot that I think I've seen before in the competition. The guy playing cards, the female cyclist, Roseanne from London, Mr. John Wick, and the holiday resort woman on the beach or whatever she was doing. So I have, well, there's 4 that I really like. Let me narrow it down. You can choose one as well, Steph.
Okay.
Okay. I have 3, and depending on what you choose, then I'll. Or do you want me to go first?
No, I want to go
Okay, go for it.
first. Okay, let's let's go. Oh, I really like it. The card player.
Oh, okay, surprise. So, congratulations to Jeff Weber. We'll be in touch to get you out a copy of the 1920s Hollywood shoot. And that actually makes it more difficult because I was quite sure that I knew what you were going to choose. Dang it, there's 3 here that are
Ah,
all great. Damn, you really surprised me
can
on
do
that
it.
one, Steph. Um,
Oh.
okay, so Bram, I really like the shot of your, I think it's your daughter, but I'm pretty sure you entered her before as well. So, and you've won so much in the past. So, an honorable mention to you. Also, an honorable mention to Ming Hung. I think that's a really cool action shot. But I'm going to give my choice to Ian Knight and the cyclist. I think Ian's won just about everything by now as well. But I think that's a really class portrait and does the job that you were looking to do. So, Ian Knight and Jeff Weber, congratulations. I will be in touch.
Yay! Congratulations,
So
guys.
let's now take a wee little look at any last questions.
Anything? Anything?
I don't see any. Well, that's a nice little tight show anyway, 75 minutes, and we got through
Yeah.
about 35 images. Thank you to everyone who entered. Do head on over to mattgranger.com/live. That's where you can enter your isolation theme shots. But as I say on the page, please make sure you rename the file and do send a high res, at least 4,000 on the long edge, so that we can jump in when you send something that's like 1200 pixels. It's not going to hold up very well and it's going to look a bit less than it could have. So I hope you guys all have a great week ahead. Good luck with Lady Steph.
Oh, she's so cute.
Can you
Hi.
move the webcam, or is that not really going to work right now?
No, I can move it.
Everyone want to
All
see
right, you guys ready
Lady,
for this?
the
Da,
cute
da, da,
fox
da,
puppy?
da, 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 da.
Foxy Lady. Hey, buddy.
Foxy
How are
lady.
you? Oh, she's smiling now. Hello. Hello, puppy. Oh, you got your lovely home to live in now, don't you? Aren't you sweet? Yes, you are. She can't hear me, right? It's probably for the best. A
Nope.
strange voice suddenly
Oh,
in the
and
house. Oh, very cute. Very, very sweet. I'm so happy for you and Timmy. And Lady, of course. Lucky Lady. So, thanks, folks. Send in your
she.
isolation shots. Next week, we might see a foot from Lady, a paw on Steph's foot as she gradually gets closer and closer. And yeah, check out the Hollywood
I
shoot.
mean,
The launch sale is now on,
this.
and we've got about a week left in that. And we'll just finish on a close up of the puppy, I reckon. So, thanks,
Yeah. I
guys.
mean, nobody needs to see me.
Well, it's nice to have some variety. All
Yeah.
right. Thank you, Steph. Have a great week, everyone. See you later.
Bye,
Sweet little
guys.
lady. See you guys. Imagine Steph
Bye.
excitedly waving whilst we look at her cute puppy instead.
Yeah.